Exponentially, 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 exponentially. Exponentially, exponentially, exponential, exponentially, 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 exponential, exponential.
Seems to be some movement in the household. So anyway, we're going to make it a Forbes night. We're going to watch some Forbes clips, and we'll talk about what we're actually watching. If you're interested in what you're seeing, hit up my Linktree/Coolfrog. That's KOOLFROGG. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, hit the bell so you know when I'm going live next. And we'll share a screen. So then what I want to do here is I'm going to start with this one. I found it kind of interesting on what was actually going on and what Mr. Desantis had to say. I kind of agree with him.
You'll hear these people. It's they made it. It was a big deal in Virginia. These counties, parents were really upset, and a lot of the media would be like, "Oh, it's not happening. It's not happening," and they would basically act like this is all just made up. Well, let me show you some of the things that have been done throughout our country just in the last couple years. The Arizona Department of Education created a quote equity toolkit, claiming that babies show the first sign of racism at 3 months old, and that white children become full racists, quote, strongly biased in favor of whiteness by age 5. Santa Clara County Office of Education denounced the United States as a, quote, parasitic system based on, quote, the invasion of, quote, white male settlers, and encouraged teachers to cash in on kids' inherent empathy in order to recruit them into political activism. And a Philadelphia elementary school forced 5th graders to celebrate Black communism and simulated a Black Power rally to, quote, free Angela Davis from prison. And at that particular school, 87% of students fail to achieve basic literacy by graduation. And so this is something that you see all across the country, and we have a responsibility in Florida to say we're not going to do it. So we did do that. So it violates Florida standards to scapegoat someone.
It doesn't just violate Florida standards, it violates the U.S. Constitution and everything it's about. Supremacy on either side is ridiculously gross, should not be a thing. And to indoctrinate elementary students, come on now, that's not right. Stop the crap.
Based on their race, to say that they're inherently racist, to say that they're an oppressor or oppressed or any of that, and that's good and that's important. But we also have to realize that we got to do more to make sure that that actually carries the day in the classrooms and in our society. So today we are going to be introducing to the public, and we have legislators who are going to help us with this, a new piece of legislation for the upcoming legislative session called Stop Wrongs Against Our Kids and Employees Act, the Stop Woke Act. And it's something that...
There you go. That sounds about right. Stop the Woke Act. Sounds like something that should be, instilled across the United States. And I'm hoping this is working. It doesn't seem, I don't. Okay, it does. It's working. It just that my vibration coming off of my mic is not actually showing. So I had to check to see if it was actually playing back. It does seem to be playing back with what I'm saying. Stop Woke Act. Stop teaching CRT. CRT is not necessary in our public schools.
And this will do a number of things that are very important. One, it will put into statute the Department of Education's prohibition on CRT in K through 12 schools. No taxpayer dollars should be used to teach our kids to hate our country or to hate each other. And
he's right. Nobody should be taught to hate anybody. Ever.
And that's important, and that's all well and good. But I think what we've seen recently is you can legislate things like Parents' Bill of Rights. You can have certain things, and sometimes the school districts don't always follow it. And so we are going to be including in this legislation giving parents a private right of action to be able to enforce the prohibition on CRT, and they get to recover attorney's fees when they prevail, which is very important.
Good. Awesome. That's what it should be.
And yes, there will be a fortified ability for the State Department of Education to hold people accountable. But honestly, the parents know best what's going on, and they're in the best position to be able to do it. And here's the thing. A lot of times these people will fear lawsuits more than a fine from the State Department of Education, because when you do a lawsuit, you get discovery and you're subject to that. And when they say they're not doing CRT and then you have all this information showing that they are doing it, it really is an uncomfortable position for them. So I think that gives parents the ability to go in and ensure that our state standards are being followed. And I think it's something that needs to be done. We also need to understand that this has become a cottage industry, this CRT. There's people making huge amounts of money. They basically will get tens of thousands of dollars to go in and do a training, sometimes at schools, sometimes at businesses, basically saying like, okay, pay me $50,000 so I can teach your employees how racist capitalism is, or something like that. I'm just thinking to myself, well, you're certainly charging a king's ransom to do that. You don't complain about capitalism when you're lining your own pocket. It's just when other people are doing well. But the issue is you have these whole cottage industry of these consultants that will come and they'll go into a school district, or they'll go to a business, and they'll go to colleges and universities, and they bring a lot of this into those institutions, and they call it equity. Just understand, when you hear equity used,
we're going to stop it right there. Equity is not something that should actually be instilled in anybody. It's equality. We're all treated equal. The way they talk about equity and what they actually want equity to actually be is to say that everybody starts on the same ground. Well, that's kind of strange and odd to say that, one person can do the same thing as the next, when, you can just go off of even just the height of a person. You can go, well, this guy's, you look at these kids that are standing right next to him here or whatever. young ladies like 4'11", young men that's standing next to him sitting at, 5'11", good foot taller, right? Maybe give or take a couple inches. He's going to have an easier time reaching the top shelf. She's going to have an easier time reaching the bottom shelf. If they actually help each other, they can both reach, both shelves. Equality. Equity says, well, you let her do what he's able to do, or vice versa. And it just doesn't work out that way. It never has, and it probably never will.
That is just an ability for people to smuggle in their ideology, because we don't need to have these terms. We have society based on equality, where you're treated equally, regardless of your upbringing, regardless of your race. You have the same rights and privileges as anybody else. Equity is used to put the thumb on the scale in favor of their ideology. And so that's where you get things like CRT and a whole host of other things. So our legislation will defund any money for K-12 or higher ed going to CRT consultants.
Good. That's awesome. That's the way it should be.
We are also not going to allow the staff or employees or teachers in our education system to be subjected to to that type of training where they're forced to sit there and listen. And they have had this in different parts of the country. The San Diego Public Schools did a training where they accused white teachers of being colonizers on stolen land and told them, quote, "You are racist," and quote, "You are upholding racist ideas, structures, and policies." And they recommended that the teachers undergo, quote, "anti-racist therapy." So this is wrong when it's done to our kids, but it's also wrong to force employees to have to go through that. So you are not going to have that in any school in the state of Florida, which is good.
Should be any school across the United States.
But, it's not just in schools. And I know that's been a big focus, and understandably so, because parents send their kids. I think most parents just want them to be educated on the basics. I don't think that they're interested in this indoctrination. I know I'm not, and I know most of you are not.
Nobody should be.
And it's important. And it is wrong when you're trying to take a kid who's there to learn basics, and you're putting ideology and you're trying to indoctrinate. But this also goes beyond education, and it goes beyond just schooling. And it really has become something that is being utilized by corporate America to, I think, create hostile work environments for many of their employees.
It sure
when you look
has.
at what some of these big companies have done in recent years, Bank of America has had training teaching that the United States is a system of, quote, white supremacy, and encourages their employees to become woke at work. Verizon has taught employees that America is fundamentally racist, and they've even promoted defunding the police. And a Google employee program claims that America is, quote, a system of white supremacy, and that all Americans are, quote, raised to be racist. And so that is some of the stuff that we're seeing. And, I think about it, if you're in a company and someone's telling, dirty jokes or doing this, that could be considered a hostile work environment. Well, how is it not a hostile work environment to be attacking people based on their race, or telling them that they're privileged or that they're part of oppressive systems, when all they're doing is showing up to work and trying to earn a living? So we believe that this corporate CRT, it's basically corporate sanctioned racism.
Exactly. It's corporate sanctioned racism. Teaching people that it's okay to be racist towards anybody else for any reason is not necessary and disgusting. Should not be tolerated. Should never be tolerated. We're going to watch a couple more videos off of Forbes. Trying to think where these ones were. There's a couple more that I wanted to actually watch.
The Democratic whip.
Madam President, let me first echo the comments of Senator McConnell as well as Senator Schumer earlier, and wishing Sarah Schwartzman the very best in her next undertaking. Whatever the challenge may be, I hope the hours are better, because I know that the sacrifices made by you and members of our staff because of our peculiar scheduling in the Senate have caused some strains and stress and pressure and hardship. But thank you so much for making the Senate better with your service every single day. Madam President, I ask consent to the following remarks be placed in a separate part of the record.
Without objection.
Madam President, I tried to visualize.
Why does he need to have this put on a separate part of the record? Because it has nothing to do with anything that's necessary. But at the same time, it does.
I've tried to visualize this experience so many times, but it was in July of 1911, and a ship arrived in Baltimore from Germany, and a family came down the gangplank. One of the members of the family was my grandmother, and she brought her 3 children. One of them was a 2-year-old little girl, blonde-haired, named Ona, my mother. How they managed to navigate their way through Baltimore and catch a train to East St. Louis, Illinois, I'll never know, because there were virtually none of them able to speak English, but they did. And they arrived, and I grew up the son of a Lithuanian immigrant who was proud of what her family left behind.
Oh, just like everybody else that's here, we're all immigrants of another country.
And prouder still of what they found in this great country as Lithuanian Americans. So I've had a special attachment and interest in the Baltic states, and particularly Lithuania, ever since. And it's been my good fortune to follow their history from Soviet occupation and oppression to freedom and democracy today.
So then, you hear what he says and you think about it, and if you pay attention to what's actually going on, he's the Democrat side that's pushing the socialism that we're dealing with right now. Doesn't believe in capitalism, but he's lining his own pockets with your money. He says he's from, descendants of, Lithuania. I'm from descendants of Poland. Country right next to him. That was, crushed and thank God that it's back in, it's still around, but they're dealing with their own issues with other countries of large amounts of people trying to immigrate into their country, just like we're dealing with Mexico and everybody trying to immigrate into the United States. They're just, they're told to just allow them to come in. But they're not given or using the same rules that they're pushing on us with them.
Madam President, if you go on a search engine on your computer and type in the word fearless, don't be surprised if the map of Lithuania pops up. This small nation, 2.6 million population, has done some remarkable things in history and remarkable still in modern history. For half a century, millions lived under the tyranny and repression of the Soviet Union. Before I was elected to public office, I went to visit Vilnius in Lithuania in 1978, and I saw Soviet rule firsthand. I'm glad I did, because it is such a sharp contrast to Lithuania of today. In the late 1980s, things began to change, particularly in the Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Who can forget when 2 million people joined hands across these three nations to form a 420-mile Baltic chain of freedom in August of 1989. And not long thereafter, in February of the following year, Lithuania held its first free elections since World War II, voting for the country's first post-war non-communist government. Immediately thereafter, the new parliament voted to make Lithuania the first occupied Soviet republic to declare independence. Lithuania's bold move was followed later that year by Latvia and Estonia. These brave efforts culminated a year later in February of 1991 when the Lithuanian people overwhelmingly voted for independence, an historic move recognized by the United States and even the Soviet Union that same year. Those brave Lithuanians 30 years ago, including my friend, music professor and national leader, Vytautas Landsbergis, led that country to democracy, back to democracy. And that Lithuanian effort 3 decades ago is still alive today. As a vibrant and vital member of the European Union and NATO, this small but brave nation is standing firm against renewed Russian aggression and now Chinese economic intimidation and defending heroic efforts to end tyranny in Belarus.
So you catch all that, right? Dealing with tyranny, dealing with Russian forces, dealing with Chinese communist forces. But no worries, because it's never going to come here. Well, it's here. It's been here. We were warned that it's here. We've been warned. We've been warned for a long time that it's been here, that we need to, or that it's coming, and we need to worry about it. Remember who first started saying that we needed to worry about China? China. Yep, you're right. That's right. Donald Trump. Mr. Durbin. And
Thank you, gentlemen. Chairman?
Thank you. Senator Sinema. Is Senator Sinema available?
Maybe.
Senator Scott?
There you go.
Thank you, Chair Cantwell, and thank you for holding this hearing. I'd like to start with Mr. Kirby. Do you, I want to follow up with what Senator Cruz brought up. Do you respect your employees' religious beliefs?
Absolutely.
Do you think it's,
Do you think he really does?
So here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the same thing in Florida. You've got a lot of people that work for your company many, many years, and they've been placed on unpaid leave after being granted a religious exemption to the vaccine mandate. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act prohibits employment discrimination based on religion, yet your company has placed employees who decline to receive the COVID vaccine based on their sincerely held religious beliefs on unpaid leave. So number one, if you respect their religious beliefs, well, how can you just put somebody out of work? On top of that, do you believe you're currently in compliance with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act?
So first, Senator, I think it's important to explain our policy actually, which is we've offered everyone an accommodation where they can still work in an area where they're not interacting with customers and people frequently. So for we've got about 2,000 employees that have either a medical or religious exemption. The majority of those are working in positions like agent on demand, where they work virtually, on the ramp, where they're outside and don't work with other customers. And we're letting people do that. They have to test, and there's a bunch of requirements around testing. So we're doing that. The exception to that is in places where they're with other employees and they're with customers, so customer-facing roles. The biggest area are pilots and flight attendants, and we will let them take one of the other jobs. But if they want to be pilots or flight attendants, and the flip side of this equation is safety is our number one priority. We absolutely respect their religious rights, but safety is our number one priority. And if you're going to be sitting in a cockpit with someone, and not just in a cockpit, you're going to spend 4 days with that person, traveling to and from the crew bus at night and having breakfast with them and dinner with them. The safety of the employees that they work with also comes to bear and comes to mind. And so that's the reason. And we look forward to the day when the COVID pandemic is enough in the rearview mirror that everyone can return to work, vaccinated or unvaccinated. But until they can do that safely, and safely for all the employees, that's the accommodation that they have. They can't work in those customer-facing jobs like pilot or flight attendant, and that we absolutely are compliant with all the legal requirements.
So why couldn't you just make them test every day? I mean, other companies are doing this. I mean, you're not the only company doing this. It's not just the airline industry. You can buy, tests pretty cheaply now.
Yeah, Senator, it's not about expense. It really is about safety. And, aviation has a history of being, I would say, 2 standard deviations better on safety than any other industry. And at United, that is core to our DNA. And we just don't compromise on safety. When we had an issue with our 777s, 52 wide-body airplanes, with an engine issue, we voluntarily grounded the entire fleet. I mean, that is a massively expensive decision to make. But we did it for safety because it's the right thing to do. And that is not just
is
our
it
North
the right
Star,
thing
it's
to do?
the only star that guides us on our vaccine policies is about safety. And
Sounds like
testing is good.
I'm not a
but
doctor.
it's not as good as someone
I'm not
being
one to tell
vaccinated
you
because
what
you have a point
to
in
or
time,
not to do.
even if you're testing every day, where you can infect someone else before you show up positive. And these are people that were with each other literally for days in a row. And because we don't compromise on safety, we've done everything we can to find opportunities for them, but those kinds of places where they have to be around other customers and each other for multiple days, we're not allowing that because of safety.
Have you ever lost your job?
I have.
And how did it feel?
I was really angry.
So all of us up here,
With a
we're
smile on his
fiduciary
face.
to the taxpayer. We gave your industry $54 billion, and we didn't do it for every industry. There are a lot of small businesses that didn't get a dime, and you guys did. You got a lot of money. So can each of you tell us, are we going to get a return? Are the taxpayers of this country, when you think about, you guys all entered into an agreement with the U.S. Treasury, are we going to make money off this investment? because we're fiduciary. That's our job.
Well, I guess I'll start since I'm on the mic. I think that the country is already getting the return. The return is less a financial return of buying a stock and having it go up. The return is about what we do for the U.S. economy, what we did for humanitarian relief efforts, carrying hundreds of millions of vaccines, supporting relief efforts at the beginning of the pandemic, bringing 13,000 refugees home from Afghanistan, repatriating 18,000 Americans that got stranded overseas. The return is what we do for the economy.
Did you get paid for that? Those flights?
Some of those we did, but many of them, most of those flew, especially the, repatriation flights and things, flew at losses because there weren't enough passengers. A lot of those were just commercial airline passengers, and we've lost, it's hard to add up, billions of dollars in the last year and a half doing those kinds of things. But what you did was allowed us to keep flying and keeping those airlinks alive. We weren't making money on them, but the support that we got from Congress, and thank you for it, allowed us to keep those bridges intact, and we could do it because you were helping fund it.
Ms. Parker?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you.
So, I can't really say too much about that last clip. The only thing I can say is that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I can't tell you what to do, when not to do it. You do what's best for you, and make sure that you have the conversation with your doctor. This one I found fairly interesting.
Ms. Ruben, Judge Ruben, let me come to you. Voter ID laws. In Tennessee, we have a voter ID law, and we have
Most states
worked
should.
hard and have been successful as being a state that at the state and local level, we've reformed elections, we've cleaned voter rolls, we've required ID to vote, we've restored accountability, but you've expressed opposition to voter IDs and said that you were, and I'm quoting you, highly suspicious of the motivations behind those laws. So what did you mean? Give me just a couple of seconds on that.
Thank you very much, Senator Blackburn. I have served for almost a decade as a circuit court trial judge in Baltimore City. And in that capacity, my North Star is what are the facts, what is the evidence, and what is the law that I apply to the case. I appreciate the question that you've asked. It does pertain to my participation on public radio to provide discourse on matters of legal public interest approximately a decade ago, in some instances longer than that. Any discussion that I may have participated in on that program was in my capacity as a private citizen and as a private lawyer.
No, I didn't ask you about that. I have all of that information and where it came from. I'm asking you specifically, what did you mean by using the term that voter ID laws were highly suspicious? And you're going to be working in a courthouse, and a courthouse requires an ID to enter that courthouse. So now, are you going to be highly suspicious of having to show that ID? When I go to my grandchildren's school, I have to show an ID. Are you highly
suspicious of having to show anything is ridiculous. Everybody should I mean, you need to show an ID for anything and everything in this world. You want to buy booze, you want to buy cigarettes, you want to buy a fishing license. If anything that you want to do requires you to show an ID.
Suspicious of schools that require visitors to show an ID. If you want to go over on the House side and go see Speaker Pelosi, or you want to go in the Capitol, you've got to show an ID. Are you highly suspicious of those?
Thank you, Senator. I have not had a matter that's come before me involving the sort of facts that you've explained here.
Okay,
this
I'm out of time, so I would like a written response of your definition of the term highly suspicious. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator.
Good. Somebody needed to say something like that, because that's exactly what the problem is. This world is ridiculous. Thinking that, you need to show an ID for one thing and another, but when it comes to other things, that not having to show an ID, that's suspicious. So then we'll listen to what these people have to say.
It is truly incredible that the House-passed version of BBB would result in childcare that is more expensive and less accessible. Chairman Burr has already, you're still chairman to me, has already talked about the fact that studies have shown that the new mandates that would be imposed would increase the cost of childcare by $13,000.
Are you kidding me? And that's where you come into the question of what am I supposed to do with my family? Because, my wife works. I'm at home with the child because she has the potential of making more money than I do, which is awesome. Which kind of evaporates the whole, equality when it comes down to it or whatever, because obviously, she has the potential to make and earn more money than I do. So that leaves me home with the child. I don't have a problem with that. I love it. But this is the reason why I'm not allowing my child to go into a child care center or even a public school. It won't happen. He will be homeschooled. This is gross and ridiculous. An extra $13,000.
Making it unaffordable.
Unaffordable. It already
But
is
there
unaffordable.
are also problems with the bill and its new mandates that would decrease access to childcare. Let me tell you about Chrissy, who has been providing childcare in rural Maine in Somerset County for 21 years. When she heard about all of the new mandates that she would have to meet under the BBB bill, she told me there is no way that my childcare based in my home could possibly survive. In addition, we have heard from faith-based organizations who have said that the new requirements would force them to close their doors in many cases. And that is critical because approximately half.
It is critical. It's kind of disturbing that they're allowing this to actually go on. This Build Back Better Act should never have been anything. But they're forcing it through, and they're trying to push it through, and they're trying to say that we need to actually follow these new rules and regulations on everything. It's just not right. And making it more expensive and less accessible sounds like you're trying to push them into, I don't know, maybe an indoctrination camp of sorts.
Of all child care slots are provided by faith-based organizations. So that's why we would have a severe access problem. There's another issue which Mitt Romney just touched on, and that is we have an existing program that is the Child Care Development Block Grant Program. It is a bipartisan program. It has existed for years. The last time it was reauthorized in 2014, it passed with 88
That's Obama
votes.
administration.
Before that, it was authorized with more than 90 votes. So why aren't we taking a program that has worked well, that already exists, and expand its funding so that we can help more families, but keep the rules the same so that we do not create these tremendous accessibility and affordability problems? That's the answer, to take the existing program, put more funding in it, but keep the structure the same. It's worked well, it's been bipartisan, and it's served families across America.
But they want to do away with that, and they want to, expand this Build Back Better Act, and they want to actually say, because it's supposed to be so much better for us, which seems to be a lie. I'm just sorry I'm not even talking today. I'm just super disturbed and upset with the bullcrap that they're trying to push. All this being said, while I'm looking for this next video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell. You can follow me and support me and my family at linktree/coolfrog. That's KOOLFROGG.
Crime recently. The mayor in San Francisco is now trying to add police funding because when she pulled it to reinvest in communities, crime went way up. So would President Biden, as the leader of the Democratic Party, advise Democratic mayors not to pull money from police budgets?
So I can say this. It is absolutely unacceptable when gun crimes are taking lives, when families don't feel safe going to the park or their local schools, when thieves feel impunity in stealing from retailers. So we applaud the mayor making sure that there is more police presence in the city to protect Americans. It's so if you're a mayor, this is what we say to local leaders. If you're a mayor or a local leader, there is a crime problem in your community. We think you should step up and do something about it, just as many mayors are already doing. And we've made clear
But then
that
at
we're
the same
going to
time,
offer federal
defund the
support
police.
to help you do that and to keep communities safe. As just one example, the Department of Justice announced last month grants to help put 50 more cops on the beat in San Francisco and funding for over 1,000 more community-oriented policies roles nationwide. The president has proposed doubling that program. So we want to make sure that that mayors and local leaders do indeed step up and make sure that they're protecting their community.
And then
So they want the mayors to step up and implement something to help support the community to take care of the crime problem that's currently existing, all these smash and grabs. It sounds like a little bit of hypocrisy going on all at the same time. Do this one. Share screen. Kind of concerned that I'm having to reshare volume each time. I think I missed it on one of those videos, now that I'm thinking about it.
Keep forming in the Democrats' reckless taxing and spending spree, some of our colleagues seem to channel their frustration into even more radical attempts to attack our government institutions. In the span of a few hours, one Senate Democrats have renewed call to nuke the Senate and break the rules. And another published a national op-ed arguing the Democrats should attack the rule of law and pack the Supreme Court.
Why? Why would you feel the need to do that? There is somebody that actually went and said something about the last person that tried to pack the Supreme Court and put it up to the 9. And I believe that was our current president that actually said something about FDR packing the court and said it was a boneheaded idea. Don't believe me? Go look it up. I'm telling you, it's there. It's a boneheaded idea. Packing the Supreme Court is not going to help anything. It's just going to make it worse.
2 frontal assaults on 2 branches of government proposed in the space of about 2 hours. Entire generations of statesmen would have seen either one of these unhinged proposals as Armageddon for our institutions. But apparently today's Democrats try both at once and just call it Wednesday. We've heard false claims that Senate obeying our rules to address the debt limit somehow paves the way for radicals to break the rules. So, Madam President, I'd ask consent that an additional statement on that subject appear at a different place in the record.
Without objection.
So look, we have discussed over and over again why Democrats will not be allowed to federalize our elections and lord over all 50 states like a self-appointed board of elections on steroids. My colleagues across the aisle have pushed absurd bills that would do things like neuter voter ID laws, make every state legalize ballot harvesting, turn the Federal Election Commission into a biased partisan body, and even send taxpayer money to political campaigns. It isn't about quote unquote voting rights. It's a naked power grab.
It's everything that Democrats are doing right now is nothing but a power grab. Everything that they've been pushing is a power grab. They're trying to push so much that does so little for the people.
Democrats have been pushing the same kinds of bills literally for years. even as their stated justifications have changed wildly. When Republicans win elections or start polling well, Democrats and the media say our democracy is badly broken, on death's door, and needs a radical overhaul. The answers presented are these policies. When Democrats win elections, Democrats and the media say our democracy is sterling, beyond reproach, and just needs some modest safeguards to protect the status quo. But again, the answers presented are the very same policies. Lately, their pretext has been demagogic attacks on reasonable state voting laws and proposals. If any state scraps any of the temporary pandemic procedures that Democrat operatives favor, the radical left says the sky is falling. But outside the liberal bubble, nobody buys this nonsense. The country's not buying the hysteria. On Election Day last month, listen to this, even in deep blue New York, voters rejected liberal ballot measures that would have liberalized no excuse absentee voting and loosened up the rules on voter registration. Both those were voted down in New York. Not even blue New York wants these policies to weaken their elections. But some Democrats want to break the Senate and trash its rules to force these sorts of things on all 50 states. It's beyond absurd. I understand my colleagues are frustrated they may not get to spend $4.9 trillion on their way out the door for Christmas, but believe me, lashing out at our democracy, at the Supreme Court, and at the Senate itself is not going to solve anything.
Definitely not.
Now, on another
None
matter,
of it's going to solve anything. If they think that's what's going to actually help them, they're greatly mistaken. Just like you said, even blue New York doesn't want. So I mean, when that's the case, you just need to stop pushing the hypocrisy. And try to keep the videos a little on the shorter end. See if you're already going on top of the hour. We've hit on pretty much, a majority of the issues that are going on in the government right now, and it's just disturbing all at the same time. Again, hit that subscription button, follow, hit the bell, help me out. I am brought to you by you. If you want to help me any further, you want to see some more stuff happen or whatever. I mean, obviously I'm new at this. This is a brand new game for me. Share screen again. Share audio.
The people of El Salvador, of Guatemala, of Honduras, we have talked many times during our meetings about who they are. They are not unlike people all over the world. When they leave their home country,
Some
the
quite
place of their birth,
patented
place
shoulders
where their
that she's got
grandmother
going
might
on.
still leave. They usually leave for one of two reasons, not because they want to, but either because they are fleeing some harm or because they simply cannot satisfy the basic needs of themselves or their family if they stay. The work of this group of
Right.
leaders
They want to come
in this
here
call to action
to the United
has
States
been
and
the work
work
of addressing one of the main
and make
reasons
money
that they leave,
to raise their
and
family.
that is the lack of economic opportunity if they stay at home. Not because they don't have talent or skills or a work ethic or desires, but simply because the natural resources of their environment may not accommodate opportunities for them to satisfy those needs or to achieve any type of success. So this group of leaders, this group of extraordinary private sector, private enterprise leaders, has agreed to come to this table countless times to address these
Why does
challenges,
she have
but
a
also
crackle in her
understanding and
voice?
fueled by a sense of opportunity in terms of what we can provide for the people of these countries. And so I thank you again for that. I thank you because we also acknowledge and understand that the environment in which we exist includes that often when folks leave these countries, they are forced to leave their home and undertake a very dangerous journey to arrive here. The people
of these countries that are leaving the communistic socialism that they're dealing with are coming here thinking that they're coming to a land that's freer and where they can actually make the money they need to make to feed and clothe their families. What they don't realize is what they're walking right into is the same thing that they left. It's not anything better here. It's a very slippery slope that we're heading down, that we're going to head right straight back into what they're actually dealing with. Oh, look at we have here. We have a nice little guest. This is AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com. How's it going?
Very hectic.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Holy crap. Well, my heat in my house went off.
Oh,
so I
that's
had to
bad.
go and like fix a bunch of stuff. And then of course I was gone most of the day today.
Sure.
So yeah, that took that took a while, but I'm here now. I was
Nice.
watching a little bit ago.
Sure. Oh, you were paying attention to what was going on? I'm just going through some Forbes stuff or whatever, and you know, just kind of leaving some commentary along with what's actually happening in the world today. Kind of catch up on some politics. I know that we had talked about doing, you know, like doing a random libs of TikTok or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I really like Forbes and watching these clips of what's going on and adding commentary to it or whatever to let people know how I feel about what they're doing. And you said you kind of paid attention to some of it, so you heard what was going on?
Yeah, about 10 minutes ago-ish. I
Nice.
flipped it on.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty. I left the door open, and then my dog went out after I was going out to fix the heat thing, because something like switch flipped and all that crap, and it was a mess. And then I left the door open, and then I turned my back, and I turned around, and then there's my dog proceeds to tear everything apart in sight. So then there's that whole mess. It was pretty bad. It's pretty bad. There's a reason why. But yes, I'm here now. So, and I did watch a little bit of it.
Okay.
So.
And everything sounded all right? It didn't...
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I could hear everything.
Awesome. I'm thinking I missed the volume on one of the clips that I had played, but hopefully that's not an issue. And trying to find think it was this one. Share. I've been sharing screens on and off throughout the whole thing or whatever, and going from clip to clip. Audio's on. I'll share this one.
Judge Christina Silva, District of Nevada, Ann Traum, District of Nevada. Several of our colleagues are here today to formally introduce the nominees, and I'll turn to them in just a moment. I'd like to offer a few thoughts about the nominees in general. I've noted many times that President Biden's made it a priority to nominate individuals with professional backgrounds that will diversify the federal bench. Today's slate continues in that manner. We have before us a sitting district court judge, a sitting magistrate judge, 2 state court judges, 2 nominees who previously served as federal prosecutors, 1 nominee from academia, 1 nominee served as a federal public defender, multiple nominees with significant trial experience. When litigants walk into a courtroom in America, it's critical that they feel they're going to get a fair shot. That's why it's so important our federal courts reflect the communities they serve. So this effort is not just about diversity for diversity's sake. This effort bolsters the legitimacy of our legal system. I anticipate there'll be questions today about nominees' views on the role of a judge and approaches to judicial decision-making. These nominees have significant trial and appellate experience. They've dedicated time to serving those who are less fortunate, and they've proven they can approach the law with independence. So I'm looking forward to hearing their answers. I should note for the record that all of these nominees have been judged qualified or well qualified, many of them unanimously well qualified by the American Bar Association. With that, I'll turn to Ranking Member Grassley for any remarks.
So basically what you caught there is them trying to fill seats with more people to go along with we had listened to another clip earlier or whatever that actually went along with they want to expand our Supreme Courts, which is a bad idea. It's a very bad idea.
Yeah,
But
FDR wanted to extend it to, what was it, 20 seats he wanted to extend it to?
Mhm.
And everybody back then said, oh my gosh, no.
Including our current president. And I even hit on this earlier. He said it was a boneheaded idea.
Yeah, until it suited his interest.
Right. Now that he's the one that's in there, now it kind of, right, it goes along with what he wants to do. And it's just not right, not smart. Obviously, you fill the seats that are open. Apparently, GOP is blocking a lot of these people that he had listed and named because of whatever reasons, whatever the issues were with them. Is it doesn't take like special requirements for you to become a judge. You just need to be appointed. And once you're appointed, and usually most states or whatever, once you're appointed, they go into an election type thing or whatever where they run it up against nobody else. And most people just kind of, go down the ballot and they just mark it that they want that person because that's the only person that's there. I think it should be contested a little bit more often, but it doesn't ever seem to be that way.
Yeah, that is true. The Constitution states about judges, like they're only supposed to serve on good behavior, but that hasn't really played out too well in the history of the United States as far as getting rid of judges that are not following the Constitution through impeachment, which lower level judges have been dealt with through impeachment several times. But
we have
as you go on up
somebody
the ladder,
leaving some comments for us. Hey, Printer God. What we're watching is we're watching some Forbes clips and leaving comments along with them. He's just wondering if there's fine print preventing a president from appointing himself to Chief Justice.
President appointing himself to Chief Justice? Well, I mean, the president has to be the one to do the appointing, and there has to still be a president. So unless he resigns his
Which goes
office,
along with the wording that he actually put in there. So he's wondering if there's a fine print preventing a president from appointing himself. I would hope so.
I mean, yeah, like, again, he's the sitting president. He was elected. So he would either have to resign his office, and then he would resign his office to go be the private citizen, and then his vice president would become the president, and then, the line of succession would, shift upwards,
Right,
so forth.
which would put
And then,
Pelosi as our vice, so then it would be an all-women cabinet.
oh God.
Can a president hold dual office?
No, president cannot hold dual office.
That was his next question. He just posted that question up. Thanks for coming and watching us. It's very exciting. You're our first actual commenting.
And I think I've seen him before.
Guest. Printer God? Yes.
Yeah.
Printer God comes up in Good Logic's as well as Nick Rekieta's. He's one of Good Logic's actual
that's
mods.
where. Where.
Absolutely.
It's been a busy day. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We understand that you're a little behind what's going on or whatever because of your personal issues for the day. I almost had personal issues where I wasn't going to actually hold this episode, but we're here.
Oh yeah, unlucky for Printer God. Yeah.
He says I'm one of the legal trolls.
One of the legal trolls.
Don't be spamming us now. We might have to actually make you a mod so that you'd actually have to take yourself out.
I was trying to look for that meme with Lori Lightfoot as Bane from Batman, but I can't find it anywhere. Because when I was watching that clip from Kamala Harris and the freaking mask on her face, that's all I hear is like, it's just constantly like all the freaking time. Like that's all you hear. It's like just nothing but muffled. And it's like, I mean, you can understand it to a certain degree because, they have nice mics and all that. But holy crap. I mean, if you listen to some of these news reporters, it's just like, it's like, what the hell are you saying? They have to like stick the mic closer to their mouth just to get some sort of, resonance so you understand what the hell's going on.
So
It's
I
like,
found this one somewhat interesting or whatever. As you can tell, anybody that's been watching us or whatever has been paying attention would actually kind of probably see at least my bias through the night.
Lady yields back. The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I'm glad it was brought up, the so-called Trump Muslim ban, because it gives me a chance to set the record straight. Let's be clear, the 7 countries that my colleague was referring to, the 7 countries specifically targeted with travel restrictions in Executive Order 13769, they were actually countries that were determined by Congress and the Obama administration to be countries of particular concern.
Hold on a second here. Are we serious? Yep, we're serious. How many things had gone back to the Obama administration that were blamed on Trump? We can list a couple of them, like building cages for children as they come across the border, allowing the likeness of Black Lives Matter to become a thing and create the division that we're actually dealing with right now, even still dealing with the division that he had pushed on us.
Yes, Tucker
created.
Carlson refers to him as America's racial arsonist.
That's
very descriptive.
Printer God's right. They're still using the cages. They've been using the cages. They used the cages all the way through the Trump administration. We understand that. I think he should have done something to actually stop that from occurring, but he would have had to have created something else to also help these children as they're coming across the border. Oh, he did. He signed a bill that kept them in Mexico and disallowed them to come across the border.
Yeah, Trump did that.
Right.
And they were actually going to reinstitute
And
that.
then-
Biden was going to. That was.
I
in
was
his
just gonna.
news,
That's where I was kind
7
of
days
heading.
ago.
Is that's what they actually kind of just did? Is they actually reinstituted that
Because there's just too much, even for
Because-
these globalist hacks. It's just way too much. It's
right,
like,
'cause
okay,
they
hold
didn't
up.
realize what they were doing by allowing the masses of people to actually keep on coming over our border. I believe I have an actual picture of what Texas actually did personally on the areas where there wasn't a border wall, where they actually sent troops with boxcars and they lined boxcars up to disallow people from to come across the border. The court forced them to, is what Printer God is saying. Yeah, I didn't really quite catch on
for
who's
terrorism
actually doing
activity
what on
pursuant to
that.
the Visa Waiver Improvement and Terrorist Travel Prevention Act of 2015. In fact, the policies in the administration's travel restrictions apply to just 8% of the world's Muslim population, and according to Pew Research Center, only cover one of the top 10 countries in the world with the largest Muslim population, that country being Iran.
So I'm going to stop it right there for a second, just because Printer God actually has a good point there, or whatever. You said that court forced CBP to reinstate the remain in Mexico. Biden did not go through the proper procedures to rescind the policies. And I believe it, because he hasn't done almost anything correct.
I haven't read into that too much.
I
Just 'cause
haven't either.
I even found it hard to
I
believe
just
it was
made
even a
comments
thing.
on videos. I watched this stuff, and I kind of knew that there were some good spots and some good hits or whatever that I could actually play a video on and make a few comments on it.
Courts even found that Trump's travel ban was, and I quote, facially neutral toward religion, end quote. The court also ruled that Trump, quote, set forth a sufficient national security justification, end quote. So I thank my colleague for giving me the chance to put in the record the truth about the so-called Trump ban. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about something that the American people are focused on right now. Thanks to the Biden energy crisis, Americans are paying 56% more for a gallon of gas, 56% more.
56% more. That's a lot. I'm watching this video, and what actually caught my eye in the video is Marjorie Taylor Greene sitting here without a mask on. You see everybody else in the room actually has a mask on behind him. That's how much she actually cares about this rule that's being pushed.
You should see her little short videos she puts up. They're kind of funny. She does
In
like the
Pennsylvania,
different
families
sizes.
are facing
She's
a 50%
hilarious.
increase in their energy bills. Biden's war on fossil fuels continues to devastate the nation this holiday season. That's why, Mr. Speaker, if we defeat the previous question, I will personally offer an amendment to the rule to immediately consider H.R. 6235, the Strategic Production Response Act. This legislation would require the Secretary of Energy.
What I was going to say to go along with his 56% hike or whatever is the hike that they put on corn. The one that they put on corn is going to affect most everything, including fuel, from perfumes and textiles to anything else, because so many products, even your couch or your bed or whatever, use something that comes from corn. So
And guess who owns most of those corn, like the seeds, like the corn, not necessarily the ground itself. The farmers own that, but the person who owns like the production of the GMO'd corn and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And guess who is now buying up all of that land?
We don't need to guess. We can just tell straight out who it actually is, because most of us know that Bill Gates has sucked up the most.
Bill Gates.
He's sucked up most of the territory and most of the land around. He owns most of the farms in the United States currently. So I mean, if he's it's disgusting what they're actually doing to us and how much they're actually how bad they're making it for everybody.
Energy to develop a plan to increase oil and gas production on federal lands if the president uses the Strategic Petroleum Reserve for non-emergency reasons. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous
He
consent.
did
to
use it for
insert the text of my
non-emergency
amendment
reasons
into the
because he
record,
gave some
along
of it
with any
away.
extraneous material immediately prior to the vote on the previous question.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlelady yields.
He seriously, out of the 55,000 barrels or whatever, he actually shipped him a lot of that oil out of country.
Yeah, I think most of it went to India. And there was like 2 other countries that it went to. But we're going to release. I mean, I thought he was going to release the oil reserves in the United States just to get it to go up a couple of cents. And then he could say, well, gas is now up. But that didn't even happen.
He actually got it to drop by 4 cents.
Oh, so just by him saying that he's going to release it, he got it to drop?
Just because he did release it or whatever, is because if it actually dropped it by about 4 cents or whatever, which I don't drive. I don't see what a gas price looks like every single day. But I would almost assume that 4 cents is probably no longer a thing. I would almost think that it probably went back up just because that reserve is gone. So now that we have no reserve, now we have to replenish the reserve. Or, it just kind of, like when you do something so moronic, it's going to snowball and it's going to create, more setbacks. And I'm almost to the end of my set of videos that I was going to do. Thought there was another one that I missed in here from today. Forbes likes to put up a lot of stuff. I really enjoy watching their clips that they put out. Something's not working right. I didn't remove it. Gotta reshare. Each time you have to go back and you have to reshare screen. This one. Oh, look at that thing that's behind them. What is that? Is that a border wall?
I just want to check.
No,
everybody.
that's your eyes deceiving you.
Audio working okay? All right. I want to thank everybody for being
It's like a
with us
massive
here
wall
today.
of
We're
illegal
gonna be,
immigrants, and your
making
mind is just
an
seeing it as a wall because you just
about
desperately want that to stop.
unprecedented action taken by the state of Texas. Before I make that announcement, however, I want to recognize a few people who gather with us today. We have the Commissioner
Okay.
George.
Before we go any further on this, Printer Guy left a couple more comments for us. He says, I'm a certified internet expert. Everything I say is probably wrong. That's hilarious in itself because, I don't claim to be an expert on anything either. I just kind of, I listen, I pay attention, and I voice my opinion. Sometimes I'm probably wrong on certain things as well. So you're not the only one there, Printer God. So this next one, because I only have one person commenting, I'm reading all his comments. His next comment says, super useful when looking for both sides' perspective or even neutral ones. And right, excuse me, I listen to most everything when it comes from Forbes. So I listen to both sides of it. I don't show both sides of it because some of it makes me just sick to the stomach, right? I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that again.
I mean, you can look at both sides, but whether or
Like,
not you
like I
believe
said, I
the
do, but when it comes down to it or whatever,
things that
I'm
are
not
going
going
on,
to
it's a different
reshare it
aspect.
if I'm not interested in what it is. Because I'm just like, got a frog in my throat.
Again? Gee, well, I mean, you are cool frogs, so
Who
that
is the
comes with
commissioner
the
of
territory.
the General Land Office. And we are on property that is managed by the General Land Office, and he will be telling you more.
We're not
about
going
what
to
he
watch
has
this whole
done,
video. It's 33
to
minutes
help
long.
make this process successful, if I can say it. We have with us Senator Kelly Hancock. He is the chairman of the Senate Border Security Committee. We have Representative James White, who is the chairman of the Texas House Homeland Security Committee. We also have with us, I think behind me, we have Director Steve McCraw, the director of the Texas Department of Public Safety. We have the Adjutant General for the Texas National Guard, Tracy Norris, and we have General Ulis, who is the general in charge of the border response for the state of Texas. And I have with me the chairman of the Texas Facilities Commission, Steve Alvis. And I don't know if Novak is here behind me, but I do want to express my gratitude to the executive director for the Texas Facilities Commission, Mike Novak. So
I need to point out how smart these people from Texas are. And this guy's got a mask on his face, but all these guys, none of them were wearing a mask. Why? Because they're outside.
So let me tell you what's going on.
Even while they're in front of a camera.
Texas is taking
You know?
what truly is unprecedented action by any state ever for a state to build a wall on our border to secure and safeguard the sovereignty of the United States as well as our own state. And this unprecedented action is needed for one single reason. And that's because the Biden administration has failed to do its job as required by the Constitution, as required by laws passed by Congress, to enforce the immigration laws of the United States of America.
And that's all we really need to hear from that. The failure of the current president in enforcing laws. Printer God says something about, one side's stupid. And I just see floating heads and hands to Abbott's left. I didn't see those, so I'd have to go back and I have to go back and watch my own video.
It's all a green screen.
See what he's talking with. It's all a green screen behind him.
See, I told you the wall is fake. You're just imagining it. There's a giant sea of undocumented peoples. They're just flooding like a tsunami.
So
And
now
Abbott, for the sake of his own governorship, has to like put up a giant green screen there. There's like people's hands like sticking out from behind it.
So now that we're an hour and a half into the night, there's about a half
Allegedly.
hour. There's about a half hour left of what we normally had been doing for a show. He says it's camouflage. It's a camouflage joke. So now that we're about a half hour and a half into it, I usually ask you if you're going to come on the show to bring something interesting. Did you bring something interesting with you tonight?
Well,
if you didn't, it's fine. It's just a question.
Seeing as my predicament today, no.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to be sure that you
No, I
didn't
didn't.
actually have something that you wanted to share before we go too far, and not share what you wanted us to.
I really wanted to bring up that picture of Lori Lightfoot as Bane from Batman, but I can't find it anywhere. I mean, it literally reminds me, like, every single time I hear these people talk with their freaking stupid masks on their face. Every time it's just muffled bullcrap.
I really didn't have too much more that I was going to actually look at off of Forbes. So We can just hold a conversation for the last, half hour or so. So,
Oh, unless of course you wear those masks that they're what is that? They're like fake masks. They're like see-through masks or something. They're like completely mesh, but because you have a quote-unquote face covering, it's like legally allowed unless somebody stipulates it or really gets angry about it and they're the business owner and tells you get out of their store or something. You can wear one of those. People do that. I don't even like to do that though. But some people do. It's funny. It's like, oh yeah, hey, I got a mask on. It's like, wait, but it's not really covering. Ugh. I get so mad. You ever walk through a store or in front of someone and they don't see you with a mask on and they just like start like flaring around, thrashing, that's the word I'm thinking of, thrashing around their head.
Being that I live in the
Like
state of Minnesota,
like they're possessed or
you would
something.
think that I would run across people that are like that. I really seriously have not run into anybody that's actually looked at me and said, "You need to have a mask on."
Oh my God.
Whatever. It's very wonderfully great. I have not had a problem walking into any store whatsoever and
it's
being told that I need to, because I'm just like, most people just assume nowadays if you're walking around without one that you actually got your jab, which you can think what you want to think.
Oh my gosh. I had this one freaking Karen who she wasn't, an owner of the store or anything. The owners of the store didn't care. But it's just this freaking Karen woman. And she's like walking around. I don't think I've ever seen her before in my life. And walking past her through the store, and she just turns and she looks and she just goes, oh. I'm like, what the hell? And she's like shaking her head back and forth, and her hair's like, she's like, oh my God. And she's talking to someone else. There's like, there he goes. He's not wearing a freaking mask. Oh my gosh. I freaking hate people like that. Oh my God. I'm like, what the hell? It's like I'm like 4 feet away from this woman walking past with my shopping cart, and she's just like flipping her shit. Like, holy hell. I mean, you want to talk about someone that looked possessed? Like that was pretty bad.
So we'll just share this guy again.
Oh my God. I just took a poop. What?
He just makes me laugh every time I see this picture. I'm just like, that's ridiculous.
He's like pinching the back of his pants like, see, look, I take a poop in my diaper.
So,
and he doesn't have the adult diapers. He just has the baby diapers, and they've just enlarged them so they fit around him.
So Printer God says he's flying tomorrow. Airline specifically bans those masks, unfortunately. So he's talking about the mask that you were talking about.
They do. See, yeah, because that's what I heard. Like some people were actually stipulating it has to be completely covered and it has to have a certain sort of I don't know what you might call it, enough material on the front of it. And if it doesn't, then they stipulate it in their rules or whatever. Or, I've been hearing that as well. So that freaking sucks. That's why I don't even try with those anyway, because I mean, it's a good troll if people don't stipulate it, but then they're eventually going to be like, okay, get out of my store or get out of my face or, get off the plane or whatever. They'll just freaking throw you out of the plane, like open a window and just chuck you out or something. No parachute, just goodbye. But yeah, no. Yeah, they're kind of cracking down on some of that now. It's kind of disappointing. I first heard that those types of masks from Elijah Schaefer, and he was talking about that on his show, Slightly Offensive, and I was like, that's hysterical. Like you can actually do that. But then I thought, as he's now saying, yeah, they're just gonna go ahead and say that's not acceptable anyway. So that's kind of defeats the troll there, but
sure,
it's fun while it lasted. There was a couple of good videos.
Because it's a weekend. And Mr. Joe Biden doesn't post. Our president does not post on weekends to Twitter.
He doesn't do
I was
anything
gonna
beyond
go.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't think.
I mean, I want some mean tweets. That's what I'm looking for. He needs to post something, fun to actually, that he would get a bunch of replies to.
Oh, I just found a fantastic photograph. Me.
Yeah, go ahead and share it up, and
Shoot.
we'll critique your picture. This is, to be fair, I doubt he ever posts anything. It's a PR team. Oh, we know it's a PR team. It's the typing is, there's no slurs or weird words that are formed. It's all proper English. So we just know right then and there. I know that has nothing
you
to do
just
with
know.
them.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. Here is. Oh shoot! I just lost your tab. I just lost the tab. Where'd it go? There it is. I found it. I get too many tabs up. Let's do. Is it this one? No. Where'd it go now? Oh, freaking crap. There it is. Good grief. If you go watch Grimm's Bar and his channel, he's doing a playthrough of The Sinking City.
Nice. Nice.
So this is sort of,
he'd been practicing for most of the night on the other game that he had been playing. I watched him each and every single time. I told him that if I got done when he was still playing, that I'd come over and check him out.
Yeah, and that's the name of his channel too. Is
Printing
Grimm's
God
Bar.
says he just finished.
Oh, he finished his the one that he was doing.
I was talking to him earlier. Grimm's Bar said that game is one of those that you have to play when you're totally awake.
Oh, The Sinking City.
Yeah, The Sinking City. He can't play it unless he's like totally awake or whatever. So, being that it's as late at night as it is, and he's as many games as he's played today, as well as jumping over and watching Good Logic with all of us, I assume that he wouldn't be playing it, and that's why it's kind of interesting. But if he just finished, he might actually jump over and play the other game.
But
he has the
this
tendency to do that.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Go ahead. Share your.
Well, this sharing. If you share my screen.
Yeah, I'll totally.
This is complimentary of that. As you see, we have a fish face person here. Some refer to her as Lori Lightfoot. Others refer to her as the alien in a human suit, or the lizard person in a human suit. But yeah, so the fish face from The Sinking City. If you watch his streams, they do exist. They do exist, and here's an example of one. So
that's funny. I like it.
Just thought
it's a good picture.
I just thought I'd let you know that, because those they do exist. They do exist. So, and one of them is very prominent. In fact, this one is. So
So this one's kind of interesting. I'm going to share this screen. This one.
What's this? Israeli police are doing what?
They're using water cannons against protesters. Watch these guys. Bam! Ow!
Well, it's better than some things, but
That looks
what are they
dangerous.
protesting?
Mask mandates.
Oh, well, screw you.
Yeah, these are protesters against mandates, and that guy totally bites it. Holy man, that
Screw
looks
these people.
dangerous. And that high pressure water that comes out of there fast.
Yeah.
It's not nothing, just little like water, water gun or a.
I mean, it is better than some things, like I said, but still, like, screw you. Mask mandate protest? No, screw you.
Yeah, some of that's just ridiculous. And
Oh, wait, where's the video of Santa Claus being arrested? Hold up. I can do that. Let's see.
yeah, let's just leave dead air.
Where'd the video go? Just wait.
We don't want to leave too much dead air, so we'll just laugh.
Okay. There we go.
Oops. Stop mine.
No, that's not the right one. Where the freak did it go? I just had it. I have these videos saved. Where the freak? Okay, here it is. Good grief. Okay, now.
Now?
Let's share.
Maybe.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
This is Santa Claus being arrested in Germany because Santa is not wearing a mask. And I don't believe Santa here is jabbed either. So.
As he shouldn't be.
It's a pretty good Santa outfit, I will say. Pretty nice. They know how to do that over there.
Bad Santa.
Oh God, that's a movie.
It is.
Öffentlichen Bereich.
It's a good movie.
Wir sind doch hier im öffentlichen Bereich. Genau, aber eine polizeiliche Maßnahme. Was ist denn das für eine polizeiliche Maßnahme? Sehen Sie doch hier gerade, ne? Nee, sehe ich nicht.
Watch what they do.
Was soll denn das sein? Wir wollen die Personalien erheben von Ihnen, ne? Wie bitte? Polizeiliche Maßnahme. Weiß ich nicht. Kann ich nicht, kann ich so nicht feststellen. Weihnachtsmann ab der Tür! Schämt euch!
Good, he's fighting them. As he should.
Hear them yelling at the officers in German. It's the greatest thing. Let's just pick them up and carry them away.
Santa in his 4 tiny reindeer. So, Printer Guide says Cool Frog is self-explanatory. It's really not self-explanatory. The first letter actually comes from my actual legal name. We won't use that. And the
frog comes from the frog that's always in your throat, and sometimes mine.
Right, the frog that's always in my throat, but the GG comes from when I actually created the name of Cool Frog. It was probably a good 20 years ago, and Snoop Dogg was actually very, very popular. The other question that he left here, though, is he says, what's the story behind America's shirts? Or behind the name America's Shirts. So if you want to go ahead and you show yourself out, you can totally do that.
Oh, well, it's just America themed, freedom themed, liberty themed shirts. It's the essence of America. It's liberty. So
He runs his own website of americashirtsaretfirst.com.
that's americashirtsaretfirst.com. I just had to throw that out there.
But
And it is the most
based
based t-shirts on the planet. Again, I'm not a doctor. That's just what the website says, but you know.
But that's the explanation behind the America shirts is
Officially not endorsed by Dr. Fauci or Dr. Sickle, as some like to call him. Because his name in Italian, Fauci, means sickle. Reference to the Dark Ages and the Black Plague, the angel of death. So there's a happy note.
and we really don't.
So if
have,
Fauci's the angel of death, then what does that make Bill Gates? Does that make him the god of death or something? Like allegedly.
well, they need, like
God
I say,
of the jab.
like I've said, they need to stop procreating. They've been creating so many variants.
Oh my. Oh, that's what the way they see us vermin, us people, us petty peasants.
Yeah, Printer guy says he's the financier of death.
Yeah, the god of death. Yes. Allegedly.
The financier, so he's the guy that actually has the money to.
Correct.
Right.
To Peter Daszak and Eco Health Alliance and all the rest of that. And that's a whole freaking rundown. You can actually watch oh my gosh, I just forgot his name. Let me pull this up again. He does the video. Does a video interview. David Martin, that's his name. Dr. David Martin does a rundown with Dr. And he's a lawyer, but he also has I think it's like a doctorate in something. Dr. Rainer Fullrich, I believe is his name. He's German originally. And they go over that. You can watch that on BitChute. And I have clips of that on my Rumble as well. I posted that. I have a whole video. But he goes over a lot of those details. A lot of that background with them. As well, Glenn Beck does that too. He did a video.
This says that Biden botches the name of the Medal of Honor recipient twice, Mr. Elwin Cash.
And the family of Sergeant First Class Elwin Chase has been 16 years. This has been 16 years in coming. And now it's my great honor to ask for the citations to be read and award the Medal of Honor to Sergeant First Class Elwin Chase, Sergeant First Class Christopher Slees, and Master Sergeant Earl Plumley.
Sorry, Mr. Cash.
Please give the Medal of Honor to Johnny Cash.
That's
and my
just
hairy
wrong.
legs. What?
That's just wrong. He can't say anything correctly. I did do my opening of him. I can play the opening again, being that we're just messing around with this last 15 minutes.
But drunk Pelosi is worse than demented old Alzheimer's ridden Biden. I mean, it's amazing. She beats him. I guess it's because of her dementia and the vodka that she continually drinks like water on a daily basis. I think they have like vodka like plugged into her room where like, you know, she goes and like she wants a drink of water from a fountain or whatever. Like that's just what comes out. It's just all vodka. It's probably in her toilet water too.
Exponentially.
Exponentially.
Exponentially. Exponentially. Exponentially. Exponential. Exponentially. 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 Exponentially.
Oh, what's Printer God have to say? He says, so I took my bike down to a storage unit to store it for the winter, and there's a bunch of people smoking the spicy rocks a couple units down. Had a full-blown bonfire going in one of the units.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, I didn't leave it there.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Oh my Lord, how ridiculous are people these days? They just exponentially ridiculous.
Exponentially.
Oh my Lord. So that's what we do over here. We just watch some stuff, we talk about some stuff, and we just have a good time, laugh and giggle.
And sometimes it's serious. Go over.
The one got so serious that they actually took it down.
Yeah, it's on Odyssey, and I think it's Rumble too, right? It's on Rumble.
I believe
you go
it
watch
is.
that.
Yeah, I believe it is over on Rumble.
Go over a specific document that pertains to a specific drug company that's putting out certain jabs. And it was a document that was released by a
thoroughly
judge.
go through it, and we did what we could to not say certain words, just because we know
The
about
entire
it.
video.
The
Just 'cause of
entire
the subject
video,
matter.
we try super hard to not say those specific words, and they still struck us on it and gave me a medical disinformation. That is on Odyssey. I believe it is over on the Rumble.
Yeah, and it's only audio only, so you have to follow along on
Right. You
it's
have to
PDF.
actually, if you wanted to read
there in the
along,
link.
you have to actually click
the
on the links
description.
that I put in the description on that one. I should do more with, putting links in descriptions and things or whatever, but I'm so new at doing this. There's just so much that goes along with actually creating and continuing a channel. Yeah, those companies, Mr. Printer God.
Oh, did he say the unspeakable?
He didn't say him. He kind of wrote it off a little different. He's JoJo, and I'm not even going to say the other one just because it's still kind of close to.
Oh, by the way, did you hear what happened with, he as he says, JoJo, where I believe it's the C and D and C agency in the governmentals that said that the JoJo jab might have some.
I did see that.
Might have
I
some
actually
problems.
have that. I actually picked it from. I think I got it off my Telegram, and I went and I posted it to my Twitter on the issues and problems that go along with JoJo.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Again, if anybody wants to follow me, Cool Frog, or I'm sorry, LinkedIn/Cool Frog, that's KOOLFROGG. You can actually hit up any of those links. You can support me. You can, several different ways. You don't have to, it still says that we have 10 subscribers to my channel here on YouTube. I only need another 990 to go. I mean, eventually I'll get there. I mean, I suppose I shouldn't be too mad because that was 10 within a week's worth of content. So, I mean, at that rate, only 99 more weeks to go, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
What's this? You got another playback on there. It's saying that there's 6 playbacks on our stream so far tonight. I'm actually kind of excited about that. Last night got 0. I had 0, 0, 0 all the way across the board. There was nobody watched it, nobody commented, nobody liked it, nobody subscribed to me. I went over to And I was watching Nick Ricada last night, and I went and left that comment for him on Odyssey, and apparently he doesn't care for the points, the Patriot dollar or Patriot coins that come from, or the Liberty coins that come from Odyssey, because they're only like a fraction of $1 or whatever. So then, because he didn't read my stuff, I followed him over to his Twitch channel, which I normally sub to, and said something there or whatever. And I was trying to get people to actually come and watch our stuff. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, I mean, I was doing what I
Throw
could.
the name around.
Been throwing our names out there or whatever, trying to get them, get people to actually come and, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe to a channel. It's totally free. Yeah, you get notices when it actually comes up if you click the bell. But is there? It's just a little show. There's nothing like, dramatically bad, big about it. I see your comments on. Oh, that's awesome. He said that he's seen my comments on Grimsbar's channel and followed it here because because Grim was up or whatever. I'm like, I watched him for like a half hour as I was setting up the channel to get it going or whatever, and said, "Oh, all right, I'm going to take off and create my channel." That's awesome. I'm glad that worked out. So we just got to get some more people to actually go and subscribe to this channel. Not saying you have to, Printer God, but if you want, you can go ahead and you can share this across any platform and see if we can.
What are you giving him options for? Make him do it.
Well,
you're the channel head here.
Do it. Otherwise, I'll make you a mod.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Being that we're going on our 2 hours, you want to go ahead and show yourself up, buddy?
Oh, yeah. AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com. You can get yourself one of, or actually, it's the most based t-shirts on the planet. We have a new t-shirt. Well, all of them technically are new, but this is the new one of the week.
You put a new one out today?
No. I'm just, it's the same one that's been new.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you got
the
another one?
Be a Walking Billboard of Health one that has to deal with COOF and how you might treat said COOF allegedly with certain means to do that. I am wearing that shirt again today, and again, it is very comfortable. It is 100% cotton.
I think you need to wash your shirt, bud.
Well, I do my laundry.
I'm just teasing.
But yeah. But yeah, go check it out. Go grab yourself a shirt and be a walking billboard of health to everyone you know and everybody around you. Anyone that sees your shirt.
There it is. America Shirts. There's the fun shirt that you can effectively wear everywhere and let people know exactly what they need to do. And again, we're not doctors. We're not, telling you what to do. We're just making suggestions. You should talk to your doctor though, and do what's best
before you put on a cotton
for
t-shirt.
you and
Sure
your
you,
doctor. Right before you put on a cotton shirt. And these shirts are the best. Best shirts are for America Shirts Are First are the best shirts in United States because they are made as much as they possibly can be in the United States. As you can see, you see that he actually has. You should change that card for me or whatever, so I don't have to make my screen bigger for it to actually center itself. I sent you that picture.
Yeah. Well, I try to post anyway on all those live streams for discount codes that I put out. So I was doing the St. Kyle for a while there. That rhymed. But and then of course there's the Lord God of all jabs, the great, the powerful Gil Bates. who
There's some
we all
fun-looking
hope burns in
shirts.
hell. What?
There's some fun looking shirts, and anybody that is interested in any of these should totally hit up this website and help you out.
And then there's Free Australia. I keep forgetting to mention that there's Free Australia shirt, and you can wear that. And then if somebody asks you, well, gee, what are you, Australian? What do you care? And then you can explain to them what we went over in our live stream from 2 days ago now, I guess, with their lovely camps that they have set up for the undesirables of society, as they so call them now.
Well,
so
I like Printer God's little suggestion of ideas down here. So then he says, oh no, that's too much work. So going to somebody else's website is just too much work for so many people. He might recommend to Joe to have a self-promotion channel on his Discord that doesn't automatically send notifications. That way people can see who else streams, but not get notification spam. That'd be interesting.
It's an idea.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally, put up my channel each night or whatever so that people could actually go and see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I do have a tentative schedule of midnight Central Time, Tuesday through Saturday, to do streams. I mean, there's a potential that we might run out of, because I don't have income. We might actually run out of the free time that we have available through StreamYard to continue. So once that runs out, I can't actually invite anybody to any other like Streamlabs or whatever, because I don't have a paid service there either. So eventually I'm going to run out of time and we'll just not have a show for the rest of the month.
He has to go to locals. He has locals.
Right. I do. You can hit up my Linktree /CoolFrog. Again, that's KOOLFROGG, and you can see all of my links, and you can donate any way you feel that you would like. If I notice that there's a donation and there's a way that you want to leave a comment for something, the next show that I put up, I'll definitely read all those comments and give you an answer or give you a thank you or whatever it is. Just do it, because you want to.
Yeah, if you feel moved to give $1,000, that's just, you just need to. That's like God speaking to you from heaven. Like, you need to give $1,000 to this man.
He's telling you, do it. Just
do it.
This is my only income. I really have no other way of making any income, and I have made zero income. So, I mean, that's the way it works.
We can shill this place like
just
freaking
keep
Kenneth
on
Copeland
doing
will
what
be
I
like,
can to show
"Oh,
myself
Lord."
out and be like, yeah, you gotta, come and help me. Whatever you do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That's free. Hit the like button. That's also free.
It is free.
And then ring the bell so that you know when we go live next. Instead
that
of
free
me telling you that I'm going to try being Tuesday through Saturday at midnight.
Well, today was Saturday. It
right.
was.
That's it, right. Well, see, that's the thing is now it's, this is the last day of the week, so we won't be back for a few days. So then he's like, best promotion. This is all Printer Guy talking to us. He said, best promotion though is putting out videos and collabs, and that's the thing is I've been putting out videos. I got my first week full of videos out, and trying to think of ways and who would like to actually join. Who I can go to and actually shill my stuff on their channel. That one's in the works. This is all new to me. I've never done this stuff before. If I'm not mistaken, I was one of the very first that actually followed Joe, Mr. Good Logic. I've been following him since the beginning. I've not missed a single episode. He's the only one that actually gets anything from me. Love my wife. She allows me to actually spend the $5 a month to actually hook up his locals to be able to join and help him in his show. I can't say enough about the guy. Eventually, I'd like to actually see if I can't get on his show again. If you go into my videos, you can actually see that there's a couple of clips that are out there of me actually doing call-ins on his show. He's actually gone and liked, I believe he liked one of my videos straight out. If he didn't like it straight out, he liked it over on Twitter or whatever. So I'm like, yes, he's fine with me actually using the clip that I was actually in.
Well, I like your videos wherever they are, especially when I'm in them. What?
And that's what we do. We're going to see what we can do to keep a show going. That being said, this is the 2 hours. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Next week, Tuesday midnight, which I guess Tuesday midnight was actually Wednesday morning, so that's midnight central time zone. We've been doing 2 hours. I really don't know how much time I actually have left on my free 20 hours that come along with the StreamYards. But
Yeah,
that resets itself right around Christmas. So being that it resets itself around Christmas, and we have another 20 hours coming up for the next month. We might have
and
to
by the
start
way, can
altering
you do
our shows.
Are you able to do like a normal, just a live stream to maybe like Odyssey or something? Just to Odyssey, just by itself? Or do you have to have a certain amount to then be able to do that on Odyssey, like a certain amount of subscribers to be able to do that?
Printer guide, you got to try harder than that. Just because you're traveling doesn't give you any excuse to not watch our show. You don't have to watch it live. You can watch it whenever you want.
Yeah, sure, unless Susan takes it down. She will not take it care of. She just goes,
case,
"Yay!"
If that's the case, I'll figure it out again, and I'll get the audio and I'll push it over to Odyssey.
Yeah, like the first one that we did. Yeah.
Yeah, like the first one I did.
And see, that's what I'm thinking. Like, if we could do like a special show over there, or at least post it over there, that would be good to do for, say, because the other one on Odyssey has a couple of views, none of which are from me or you.
Printer
So
God, I'll
others
totally
have been looking
hit
at
you
it,
up.
so
Go.
it would be nice to do
If
something
you
like that eventually.
somehow, some way, no. I mean, obviously, we're both on the same server. Or whatever. You go. I'll add you to my server because I also have a Discord server, and we can hold a conversation about running and working OBS. That'd be great. I'll totally take some tips from you. And then he said he's in the middle of the other Everglades, so the service at his sister's place is crap, whatever. But that's no excuse. You just go down to your local Walmart and attach to their network and sit. They have.
Oh my God, you think that's better?
I'm just telling him what he needs to do because you don't need to do anything, buddy. Thank you so much for coming and watching us tonight. That was awesome. We're going to actually end this broadcast later.
All right. Catch you all later.